Shalom, friends. This is the last day of the usual counting of the 7-day holiday of the Feast of Tabernacles, though I think it's an 8-day holiday, so we'll go live one more day after today. Today we're talking about Hoshana Rabba. That's the 7th day of the Feast of Tabernacles, and it is Hoshana, that is, oh God, save us. Please, it's a beg. It's the most begging moment of the year, perhaps. I mean, I think Rosh Hashanah was on Yom Kippur for sure. We cry out for God to save us, but no, on Hoshana Rabba, the great Hosanna, we are begging for salvation, really. You know, some people, so happy Hoshana Rabba to you. Really, when you think about it, what is the whole business? It started on Rosh Hashanah, so it was 3 weeks ago now, that this issue of the redemption of our person, this salvation, this, are we going to make it? We really think we're going to make it for another year. That's it. It's just, we're going to make it till next Rosh Hashanah, rather than we're going to be written in the book of life, which is an eternal book, not an annually renewable contract year. That's one of the differences, I think, and I think a big difference that those of us who are Messianic Jews have to ponder and consider on these days. Look, there are lots of minhags, lots of customs that have grown about Hoshana Rabbah, one of which they say is biblical, but of course it's not found in the Bible. It's just found in the Talmud relating to what they did in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Holy Temple, where they took the willow, not the palm here, the willow, and they'd beat it down on the ground, and then on the ground, and people would circle the area. Of course, who was there, who could see it, priests, and who were the people walking around. Maybe everybody, maybe just certain people. So the circling of the altar, if you will, is continued in these days as a custom. There's also the custom, you got to have food. I mean, if you don't have food, what kind of Jewish holiday is it? So there's a minhag about eating what we would call pierogies or kreplach. You know, that kind of dough, like a dumpling, really. So we should all go to Chinese restaurants today and have dumplings. Kosher, of course. What was the name of the one we went to in Washington, D.C.? Was it called Moshe Dragon in Rockville? I think that was it. Moshe Dragon. Great name. So many customs. And what should we be thinking about as far as judgment goes? Is it really, oh God, we beg you, please, 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 that's what they say, save us on this day or these days. From what? And what does his salvation actually look like? It's a great question. But this is certainly big in the Jewish community. Tomorrow is Shmini Atzeret, the 8th day of assembly. So we'll talk about that and the prophetic significance that might be. And certainly then the 9th day, which is not part of the holiday, is Simchat Torah. And I've asked an ultra-Orthodox Jewish rabbi to be with me both on my podcast, the Bob's Your Uncle podcast, and maybe I could, I don't know if his sukkah will be up, I could maybe be in his sukkah on day 9, which is of course not part of Chag Sukkot. We'll see if he says yes. It might cost him to be on the podcast. Let's see. Let's read Ecclesiastes. We're going to read some selections from chapter 6 and ahead. Obviously, there are 12 chapters in the book of Ecclesiastes, so we're not going to make it all the way to the end. However, we're not going to not read the end, because if you don't read the end, why did you start? So we're going to get to that. Should we read it today? No, we'll read it tomorrow. Chapter 6, there is an evil which I've seen under the sun, for those who are new to these daily tabernacle moments, that just means in a world under under judgment, really, under the sun, under the normality of life, a time when where we don't really ponder, we don't think about God, we don't care about God. We're after pleasures, we're after our own gain and accumulation of stuff. It's all about the futility of life, where we're just on like the rat race used to be pictured with an animal, a mouse on a wheel, a hamster on a wheel, just going around and around and around and around, and that's what people do. Hey, where do you work? Oh, I work there. What time do you get up? I get up just in time to go to work. What do you do after work? I go home, I eat, and I go to fall asleep, and then I wake up and I do it again and again and again. So it's the redundancy and the emptiness that life depicts. So he says, this is King Solomon writing, "There's an evil which I've seen under the sun, and it's prevalent among men, a man to whom God has given riches and wealth and honor, so that his soul lacks nothing of all that he desires, yet God has not empowered him to eat from them, for a foreigner enjoys them." Oh wait, we read chapter 6 yesterday. There you go. The bonus of being live is you can make mistakes and live with it. In chapter 7, a good name is better than a good ointment. I play sport and I'm 70 years old, so when they talk about a good ointment, I know what that's about. Yeah, you play sport and you think you're still 20. No, it'd be nice to get a rub, some good ointment there. Well, a good name is better than that. And the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. Really? You ever think that way? You ever think, oh my goodness, I'd rather be dead. Jonah had that issue. He said it 3 times in the book of Jonah, in the 4th chapter alone. After God had been kind to the Ninevites, the sworn enemies of the Jewish people in those days, and had heard their prayer, heard their prayer for repentance, God spared the Ninevites, at least for another few decades. And Jonah was upset. Jonah was really mad. How dare you? I knew you'd be like that. You're a great God, good and compassionate. El Rachum B'Chanun, Erech Apayim. I knew that. I knew that's who you were. Didn't I tell you that you'd do that? And that's why I said I don't want to go to the Ninevites. He said, I'd rather be dead. He said it 3 times, I'd rather be dead. That's when you're not looking from God's point of view. That's when you're looking at human enterprise as the end of it all. It's better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting, because that's the end of every man, and the living takes it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter. Is that something you could turn on your television and look for? Let's see, there's Crime and Investigation channel, there's the cartoon channel, oh wait, there's the sorrow channel, no, there's the comedy channel. I mean, there's going to be fun, people laugh. But when a face is sad, a heart may be happy. The mind of the wise is in the house of mourning, while the mind of fools is in the house of pleasure. You're an idiot, he says, if you're happy. Don't you know the world's a mess? 7, for oppression makes a wise man mad, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of the matter is better than its beginning. Patience of spirit is better than haughtiness of spirit. So some things you agree with here in Solomon's writings. Do not be eager in your heart to be angry, for anger resides in the bosom of fools. Don't say, why is it that the former days were better than these? For it's not from wisdom that you ask about this. Wisdom, along with an inheritance, is good, and an advantage to those who see the sun, as humans. For wisdom is protection, just as money is protection, but the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom preserves the lives of the possessors. Consider the work of God. For who is able to straighten what he has bent? In the day of prosperity, be happy, but in the day of adversity, consider. God has made the one as well as the other, so that man will not discover anything that will be after him. I've seen everything during my lifetime of futility. Whoa. Let's say you're 50 years old and you're just evaluating your life. Or you're 30 years old. You've just hit a new decade. There are 20-year-olds watching this video. 20-year-olds, and you still think of yourself as in university, even though you're 28 years old and you have 2 children. What? But when you hit the magical number 30, you think, well, my life is over. I guess I might as well, go sit in the old folks' home with Bob. I've seen everything during my lifetime of futility. Have you reached the end? Have you looked back on your life and said, that was a waste? Don't be excessively righteous, and don't be overtly wise. Why should you ruin yourself? Don't be excessively wicked, and don't be a fool. Why should you die before your time? It is good that you grasp one thing and also not let go of the other, for the one who fears God comes forth with both of them. Both wisdom and stuff. I tested all this with wisdom, verse 23, and I said, I will be wise, for it was far from me. What has been is remote and exceedingly mysterious. Who can discover it? I directed my mind to know, to investigate, and to seek wisdom and an explanation, and to know the evil of folly and the foolishness of madness. And I discovered more bitter than death, the woman whose heart is snares and nets, whose hands are chains. One who is pleasing to God will escape from her, but the sinner will be captured by her. This is Ecclesiastes 7. What's he saying? What's he saying to you? Maybe put that in the comments there in Facebook. By the way, I've been putting these up on my YouTube, the Bob Mendelsohn YouTube channel, after we're on Facebook, because I don't know if everybody has Facebook, but I know everybody has an internet browser and can get to YouTube. Behold, verse 27, chapter 7 of Ecclesiastes. This means, hey, don't miss this. That's what behold it. Hine, yo! I have discovered this, says the preacher, adding one thing to another to find an explanation, which I'm still seeking but have not found. Is that where you are? Is that what you're saying of your life? I don't know. I go round and around on this Ferris wheel of the rat race, and I'm longing for something. I'm not sure if I'm finding it. Maybe I found it. Maybe I found something, but is that really all there is? I'm still seeking. I have found one man among 1,000, but I've not found a woman among all these. He's married hundreds. He's got 300 wives and 700 concubines, and he hasn't found a woman? Behold, I've found only this, that God made men upright, but they have sought out many